I want to say I was immediately upset when I saw you in the green room.
Why? I need a phone book.
I know. What is it? We're both sinking into these seats. We both like Mr. Burns. Yes, excellent. Yes. No, I know that we are a similar vintage. I think we were probably born around the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And all I ever do is I walk in the room. This is like the best looking man I've ever seen at any age group. And every day I look at my face in the mirror and it's a pumpkin rotting in the sun. I don't know what you're doing. You're drinking the blood of the living, but whatever you're doing, absolutely incredible.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm older than dirt. I've earned this gray hair. At least you're still.
This is
got
a wig.
The quaff.
I can just. I just strap this on. It's just Velcro and it goes on the back. Yeah,
that's me.
No, thank you so much for doing this. You've been very nice to me over the years. You came on the late night show, I think 7 times, which I don't.
You guys were incredibly supportive of the band. Thank you.
Yeah, and you were even crazy enough to invite Triumph along.
Yes,
it's one of the fans' favorite remotes. Is Triumph giving you guys endless amounts of shit? And I remembered when Robert Smigel told me, they've invited Triumph, and I said, why would anyone invite him in? He was on the podcast, and he spent 15 minutes absolutely ripping me apart. And when he was done, I was laughing.
Triumph?
As Triumph. He had the puppet there ripping me apart. And then when he was done, I was really laughing hard. But when I went home, there was blood in my urine. He attacks and you think you're having a really good time, and then you get home and realize, oh my God, he destroyed me. He absolutely destroyed me.
Triumph.
Yeah.
Classic. At MetLife Stadium. I mean, he didn't come, to a little club somewhere. We took him to the stadium.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I remembered seeing it. You guys were very good sports and fools, I think, to have him.
We loved him.
But I was talking to you backstage that I got to see this documentary about you, the band, how it all got started. And the first thing that struck me, which I could relate to, is how much things change. You get a little older and how much harder you have to work just to stay at the same level. And that's something you talk about. Like, your work ethic is absolutely insane and very admirable, because people think being in a rock and roll band and being a massive star would just be fun.
Of course it is.
Of course it's fun. Yeah, I got that from the documentary. You didn't have to work at all. You totally phoned it in.
Yeah.
But it's impressive, how much work you have to do.
Well, look, every kid thinks he's a singer because he's in the shower doing it, and then you can do it in a bar, and then you can even make a record. You make a record, now you've set the bar, and now you have to beat that record every fucking time.
You can watch the swearing a little bit. Oh, this is a podcast for children. Really,
kid show.
It's a kid show, 5 and 6 years old. Yeah, no, but it is, and it starts out with you doing all these vocal exercises, and you're just talking about 60. The band's been around 40 years. And you do all this work, and I don't even think fans, they're not supposed to know how much work you put into it.
Right. It's supposed to look easy.
Yeah.
But the harder you work, the luckier you get. And, on the other hand, I had an old adage, nobody loved the fat Elvis.
Right.
It's like, I don't want to go out like that. If I'm gonna die, it's gonna be, out there doing it the right way, or don't do it.
Right.
Just if you're not gonna do it, don't be the fat Elvis.
Yeah.
So
I disagree. I plan to really fall apart and hang around. I'm just hanging around, and we're constantly doing research that shows no one wants me anymore. And I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to eat these pork chops and get out there.
It's my microphone.
Just embarrass myself.
Yeah.
No, it is a real testament, and also, it is a great story. I think people should watch this because, like anything else, when you see everything that went into it, what I took away from it is you're this kid, and you have music teachers in school telling you, yeah, you're not a singer. Everyone's telling you you're not a singer, and you just are like, yeah, no, I am. You'll see.
Right.
You just keep going in the face of a lot of adversity.
Give a kid a dream. It's dangerous. So it was as simple as that. And at the time, growing up in New Jersey was very different than being in Los Angeles or Manhattan or somewhere that had a big spotlight on you. We were in the shadow of the greatest city in the world, with New York City. We were close enough to greatness, but we could craft we could develop our chops. We could learn our craft. We could play other people's music and emulate them into the time when we got to that place where you felt that the hell with it, I'm going to jump off the diving board and see if I can swim. And so that was really important. The time, the late 70s, was a melting pot of great music that was happening. It was at a time when a DJ could influence an audience. They had an endless playlist and a microphone. And they could talk to the audience and say, check this out. And a band could break out of a city. It didn't have to be a national thing with a big, push behind it. So all of those things came together at a time for me that, but even by the time I was 18, I said, I can't play other people's music anymore. And at 18,
right. You were a cover band. You were in a cover band, and you're only playing other people's songs. And then you decide,
I'm 18.
Yeah, 18 years old.
That's enough.
And you decide, I'm going to start writing my own stuff.
Yeah.
And I have a decent imagination, and I've made my living off of what goes on in my brain. The one thing that is a complete mystery to me, and I've said this to a lot of my musical guests, is songwriting. It's completely magical. And you clearly have this great gift for it, but when you first start, how do you even know what you're doing?
You don't. But I've heard others say that, and it sort of mystifies me because I think, oh, it's really not that hard. But I could never write comedy, or I could never write a script. Right. How difficult that would be to write a script and all of that dialogue with every intention of each of the characters. But writing a song for me, it starts out very stupid and simple, and you're stealing from everybody, and then you're emulating your heroes, and then you're rhyming moon, June, and spoon. And with time,
hey, I like that song.
That was a hit for me, by the way.
1987, it went to the top of the charts. Yeah.
Until eventually you develop a voice, and then you're writing chapters in your own book.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what it is.
When you're looking at those old tapes, 85, 86, and what is it that hits you right away? Is it what you're wearing, the look?
Look, my baby pictures were public. Your audiences were not, so I have to live with that. Yeah. I the poster boy of the 80s. But no, I can chuckle at all of that now and really, enjoy the laugh as much as anyone else can. But I think that what I enjoyed the most is that we made the impossible possible by just saying, we can go. Why not? Yeah. It wasn't why, it was why not? We can do this. If you work hard, we can do this. And so it's like, I look at it, and the film really was great for me because I got to look back at this 40 years in a time capsule. The 4 parts are, well, as you've seen, and I hope your audience has seen, really telling because it's all the warts. It's the ups, the downs, it's the hurting, it's the healing.
It's amazing because any successful band is, to be really good, they have to have an element where they're almost tearing each other apart at times.
A couple times.
I don't know what that thing is, but clearly it just is part of the stew of any great band. Yeah. And another great music documentary was about the Eagles, and it's just about them. You watch it, they're all trying to kill each other at different times. Yeah. I mean, it's like you're watching Survivor. And, but that's the element that seems to be kind of important.
I think it absolutely is. It's a sexless marriage in most rock bands. You mean,
it's a marriage.
Right.
Anyway.
You're with these guys 24/7.
I'm laughing and crying at the same time.
So you're together to the point of frustration and then there's all the infighting and success is it's intoxicating, and then it depends on what you do with it.
Yeah.
How many comedians have we seen, or actors or singers that get a taste of that and then they fuck up, or you realize what you're doing and you go on. I remember telling a story about the Beatles, that they were the archetype that you wish that John had lived, because would they have gotten back together? Or would they have had a healing because they had seen someone else somewhere get fixed?
Yep.
Because the Eagles were a great example, right? It's 15 years of not being together, and then they get back together and they're still touring.
Yeah.
You know, every great band, if you think about it, technically the E Street Band was not working together. The Eagles weren't working together. Guns N' Roses weren't working together.
Aerosmith had this whole
Aerosmith,
period where they came apart. Yeah.
Down a list, you know, but in a weird way, you know, the gravitational pull gets everybody back together one more time. And, you know, and if it can, it does.